BYU's magical run started 9-0.
Retzloff under some duress will take off and run for the first down. Inside the 20, the 15, the 10. He's going to go! Touchdown! Touchdown BYU!
Today, BYU gets a chance for redemption against conference rival Colorado. This is KSL's special extended pregame coverage. Our hosts are Mitch, Harper, and Matt Baiamonte on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.
Extended pregame coverage. It rolls on, baby. You're getting additional Cougar Sports Saturday extended pregame coverage up until 3:30 with myself and Mitch Harper, who is live inside the Alamo Dome. Set the scene for us, Mitch.
It is sunny. It is close to 80 degrees here in San Antonio. Beautiful weather. And a lot of fans are gathered outside the Alamo Dome waiting to get in. I believe they won't be able to get in until about 2 hours before kickoff. So coming up here soon. So they're lined up. A lot of people inside the stadium. I'm seeing a good number of BYU fans, but I'd still give the edge to Colorado fans here at the stadium. As I walk outside the Alamo Dome, I see Isaiah Glasker's family, who I saw on my flight on Delta on Christmas night. I see Blake Mangelson's family. So a lot of Cougar fans and their families showing up here at the Alamo Dome, and a lot of Colorado fans as well, decked out in Coach Prime, Coach Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter gear. So this is going to be a fun atmosphere. I'm very intrigued to see if it ends up being a sellout. Haven't got any official numbers yet on the ticket sales for this game, but expecting to see a really good crowd tonight here in the Alamo City.
Let's keep breaking down this matchup between the Cougars and the Buffaloes with a segment we do throughout the football season, breaking down the game with key players, stats, and bold predictions. It's 3 and Out.
3 and Out. A quick hit look at BYU's next opponent on the gridiron. It's 3 and Out on Cougar Sports Saturday.
We'll give you some players to watch on both sides of the field. I guess, Cougars and Buffaloes. We'll give you some interesting stats that could play a role in the game and some bold predictions. And like any football drive, you know how it starts.
First down.
Stats to pay attention to. I'll start things off, Mitch. Jake Retzloff against zone coverage, this is from Pro Football Focus, has an 87 passing grade. He is great against zone coverage. However, Colorado does not run a lot of zone. When you have Travis Hunter, the Heisman Trophy winner, you play a lot of man defense, and Jake has struggled at times against man defense this year. Only a 54 passing grade against man defense. He's got to be better, and the receivers got to get open, which is going to be a challenge against a difficult pass defense for Colorado.
Yeah, that's going to be a big challenge, and I can't wait to see how BYU's personnel matches up against the top end talent of Colorado. I think that's the big storyline to me going into this game is how does BYU fare against the best of the best that college football has to offer this season? They haven't faced talent like this from Colorado or any team this season. BYU has. So it's going to be quite the test. And I think Jacob Robinson's someone that's, kind of salivating at the opportunity to really showcase himself and this BYU defense against the high-powered Colorado offensive attack.
What's a key stat for you, Mitch?
For me, it's going to be the number one, and BYU's number one nationally in interceptions. They've got 20 interceptions this season by 12 different players. Shedeur Sanders doesn't throw many picks. He takes a lot of sacks, but he's only thrown 8 interceptions this season. To me, the interceptions are going to be a big story. BYU's had at least one interception in every game this season. Can they pick off Shedeur Sanders? If they can, that bodes well for BYU's chances to spring the upset because they got to set up this BYU offense with some short fields because we know when Jake Retzloff's healthy, as he noted he is this week, BYU capitalizes on those short fields. So, getting the Shedeur Sanders and forcing him into some mistakes could be big because BYU every single week, that's who they are. They generate interceptions, and I want to see it happen again today against Shedeur Sanders.
Second down.
Players to watch. Let's start with the Cougs, the higher-rated team, the Cougs. For me, it's Jake Retzloff. As I just mentioned, not so great against man defense, and he also hasn't been very good this year against the blitz. When he does not get blitzed, he picks teams apart. But when the pressure comes on, he's inaccurate. He throws turnovers. His PFF passing grade 52 against the blitz. So Jake's got to improve in that area, and no better defense to show improvement against the blitz and against man than Colorado. So that is the biggest battle I'm watching offensively today is Jake versus that man defense led by Travis Hunter.
I like that a lot. I think for me, I'm really curious to see how Waylon Lapuaho performs. He's the projected starting right tackle because Braden Keim out with an injury. Isaiah Jada, I know he's really sad to be missing this game. He's out with an injury. He's a former Colorado Buffalo. He would have loved a chance at his old team. So Waylon Lapuaho, he's listed on the first team offensive line at right tackle. We'll see if he ends up giving it a go at that right tackle spot. He never played the position until that Houston game in the regular season finale. He's going to have one of his best tests. And I think if he performs well, Matt, you might make a case that Waylon should be the starting right tackle next year in 2025 and then have Andrew Gentry as the left tackle, the Michigan transfer next year at that spot. So it could be a little bit of an audition for Waylon Lapuaho to make a case to be that starting tackle, but he's got to come up big tonight against a Colorado defensive front that's got 37 sacks this season.
Defensively, for me, I'll go Tanner Wall. You already mentioned earlier in the segment, 20 interceptions, number one nationally. Tanner Wall is a part of that group. He's been really opportunistic at times. He's someone who, on maybe a deflection or a pass over the middle, could make a play. I'm curious Tanner Wall can pick off Shedeur Sanders and make a play from that safety spot.
Yeah, and I want to see Tyler Batty, too, get some numbers here in this game. And Colorado gives up around 3.5 sacks per game to their opponents. Shedeur Sanders, as I noted, he'll take some hits. He doesn't throw picks, but he takes some sacks. Let's see Tyler Batty get some numbers and inflate that sack number for the 2024 season as he plays his final game as a BYU Cougar. You look at his stats. I mean, he's among the all-time best in sack totals since 2000 in BYU history. So let's see him kind of climb up the leaderboard and get some sack totals enhanced tonight against the Buffs.
Third down.
Bold predictions. Mitch, you want to start us off on this one?
Along those same lines, I'm going to say BYU has 4+ sacks tonight against Colorado. I do think that BYU is going to be able to get home to Shedeur Sanders. He kind of reminds me a little bit. Well, he's one of the best quarterbacks in college football, but from a comparison standpoint, think back to week 2 against SMU, Preston Stone, quarterback who ideally sits in the pocket. He can run if called upon, and that's a similar case with Shedeur Sanders. But ideally, he's not running. He doesn't want to, and that was the case with Preston Stone. Think of how successful BYU was against Stone. They basically ended his time at SMU, and now he's at Northwestern. I think there's some similarities there where I think BYU's defense can have some success against quarterbacks that don't like to really escape it out of the pocket and run. Shedeur can, but he doesn't really want to. And so I think BYU gets some sacks. This offensive line for Colorado's improved from last year, but they're still not elite. And I think that BYU's defense can get get home and get 4+ sacks today. What about you? What's your bold prediction?
For me, I'm going to go to the special teams. We haven't noted them much at all this show, Mitch, but they've been really good this year. They got a punt return touchdown. They've got a kickoff return touchdowns. Their field goal kicker has been really good. And their punter, Vanderhaar, I think he's done a nice job. He doesn't have booming punts like Rico does, but he's been solid. There haven't been any deadly shanks that have cost them a game, and he's done a nice job holding for Farron. Look, you're in a dome. The weather's nice, but you're in a dome. Great field goal conditions. I'm going to say Will Farron makes a 60-yard field goal in this game. Why not? The dude has the leg. He's been accurate. Let this man kick a 60-yard field goal. Because here's the thing. If you can get points on any drive, take those points. I don't want to see BYU on the 35-yard line on 4th and 4. Go for it. If the game's still close, take the points. You've got the kicker in the dome. Give this man an opportunity to kick from 60 yards if you have that chance.
I'm on board with that because automatic points with Big Game Bill. Will Farron has been clutch this year. He's special teams player of the year in the Big 12, first team all Big 12 kicker this season. He's outstanding, and he's coming back in 2025. What a weapon BYU has at that kicker spot. And big games where they're tight contests, and on paper this is a very close matchup. Could come down to a Will Ferrin field goal. I like that pick.
If it came down to another Will Ferrin field goal, that would be something else. He's got the game winner against Utah this year, and then a chance to get 11 wins. Look, Ferrin, him and his family, they celebrated Christmas a little bit early. They had it before they went down to San Antonio so they could focus on this bowl game. How fitting would it be to have, one of the heroes of this football team and someone who's been so reliable, have it come down to that, Mitch? That'd be crazy.
It would be, and I think Cougar Nation would love that spot because he's been automatic. He's so clutch, and he's become such a weapon for this BYU team to have him and know that if you do trot out Will Ferrin, you're probably coming away with 3. So I like those odds. If it comes down to a Will Ferrin kick, I like the chances for BYU if they're in that spot.
All right, let's take one more break. On the other side, we'll give you our score predictions and get some final thoughts from Mitch, who's inside the Alamo Dome. No fans yet, waiting for them to come in, but are there any players trickling out onto the field yet before we go to break?
No players yet. Here outside the stadium, there's a big fan fest going on, and seeing a lot more blue coming through, and that's exciting. As this should be a really fun atmosphere here in the Alamo Dome. I mean, a closed environment should get pretty loud, I hope, and hopefully it's for the guys in blue.
All right, taking our final break, we'll give you our score predictions next here on Extended Pregame.